Iron Man. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, how am I supposed to drink with this thing on? Now tell me, where were you on the night of Friday, May 2nd, 2008? If you weren't watching a new movie called Iron Man, then you missed the most important event in the history of mankind. You missed the creation of a new universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Today, that universe is in more danger than ever before. But tonight, I want to travel back through time to the glory days of the MCU, to 2008, when Marvel was manly and created an icon, a god who was a man, an Iron Man. These were the good old days when there were movie stars in movies, like Robert Downey Jr., a drug-addicted, drunken, narcissistic playboy, all mixed into one cocktail of perversity, arrogance, and hedonism, also known as the formula for the perfect actor. Even Gwyneth Paltrow was in this movie. My God, has she ever been more beautiful? 2008. Back when babes in these movies were actually hot, and actually babes. Not Zendaya. And they weren't playing around with the rest of the cast either. He even has one of the greatest actors ever. He's been in everything from the original Tron to The Big Lebowski. Jeff Bridges. Even Terrence Howard is in this one, before he started disproving math. Did you hear that? It's the sound of paper pages turning. And no, it's not from an ASMR video on your phone meant to lull you to sleep, because neither NyQuil nor alcohol, nor NyQuil mixed with alcohol mixed with the Sam Harris meditation app will quell your anxiety anymore. It's coming from that logo. A logo that paid homage to the origins of this movie, this universe, the comic books. Man, these were the good times. And who could forget the iconic desert opening of this movie with AC/DC blaring? The music is loud and fast and the jokes are outrageous, each one a blissful bite of a succulent forbidden fruit.
Good God, you're a woman.
2008, when you could still get away with calling a woman a woman.
Is it true you went 12 for 12 with last year's maximum cover models?
March and I had a scheduling conflict, but fortunately the Christmas cover was twins.
Do you smell that? It's 2008 Marvel humor. Brash, witty, unafraid. The good stuff. The stuff that makes you actually laugh. If it grew on a vine, it would cost millions of dollars per bottle, and Gavin Newsom would swill it while he looks at pictures of himself. Now it's the kind of stuff that gets you a meeting with HR at the request of Bob Iger. But here's something not so funny. Suddenly Tony and the soldiers are ambushed. Just like that 4 p.m. meeting from HR showing up on your calendar. I've had more than a few of those in my lifetime. You tell your lesbian boss and her effeminate henchmen that this job sucks worse than all their wives after 2 cocktails and an Ambien, and that you've got the teeth marks to prove it. It's all bound to blow up in your face eventually, no matter how hard you tried to bust on theirs. This movie is so iconic it even uses an iconic storytelling device in medias res, and makes sure that the audience starts where the things get most interesting, Vegas. Tony's getting an award for sciencing at Caesar's Palace. A slick presentation of magazine covers illustrates Tony Stark's illustrious backstory. His dad worked on the Manhattan Project. He learned a thing or two with Bill Gates. Hopefully didn't fly on those planes with him. And went to MIT. It would later inspire Lex Friedman to attend. Then he took over his dad's company, Stark Enterprises. Why don't we throw these kinds of parties for actual scientists? The world would be a better place for it. You can even see a real audience here. They weren't CG'd in and mirrored to fill the blank space in the room. That's right, a movie filmed with real people. They present him an award, but he's not there. He's working on rolling a 6 and a 7. This movie's so packed with pre-woke manliness and good old-fashioned humor that it's like looking through a telescope into an alternate universe. Maybe CERN is to blame for creating a new universe and sucking us all into the worst of all possible worlds. After a big night at the casino, he's ready to go home. An attractive blonde reporter shows up to question him. Not Zendaya.
You ever lose knowledge sleep your whole life?
I'm prepared to lose a few with you.
After this sassy exchange, they jump in bed. Now, in today's world, this would be a Marvel mature audiences only. But back in 2008, back in the good old days, this movie was PG-13. And in today's world, it would have been with another guy. And then it happens. They come face to face. The party girl and the good girl, the one you keep for a night and the one you keep for a lifetime.
I do anything and everything that Mr. Stark requires, including occasionally taking out the trash.
Stark is late for his plane.
I got caught doing a piece for Vanity Fair.
At this point, you just have to admit it. Every line of dialogue for Tony Stark is absolute perfection. It's iconic. More on that later. While Al is being dazzled by the dialogue, Tony convinces Rhodey to get hammered and let the stripper air stewardesses do their thing on the pole. Here's a question for the ages. If Rhodey and a stripper got it on, is that where the lizard people that all these conspiracy theorists blab about come from? We live in a world that's asking for the Epstein files, but should be asking for the Rhodey files. How could this movie get any better? How could this character get any more iconic? He drinks, gambles, bangs reporters, and has a plane full of strippers who serve him even more drinks. But they needed one more thing to make him immortal, and here it is. Here's what made Iron Man true cinema.
The Jericho.
Then he gets blown up and after surgery wakes up strapped to a car battery. But fear not, because now the really great stuff starts. Now you get to witness how legends are forged in the fires of death and despair. Let's start with death. This guy's the leader of a band of thugs called the 10 Rings. He wants to be the next Genghis Khan. He wants a lot of death, and he needs Stark's Jericho missile. So will Tony build it?
I refused.
That's a Chad move. Stark's got a week left to live. He goes Vulcan mode. He gets to work. First he makes this contraption to keep himself alive. Then he makes his ticket out of here. It takes two great minds working in perfect harmony in the pits of a mountain in Afghanistan to create the first Iron Man suit. And guess what? The first version isn't perfect. This other captive scientist, Jensen, sacrifices himself in a spray of glorious AK-47 bullets so that the Iron Man may unfurl its vengeance. And now the time is here for Iron Man to spread fear. Stark lumbers through the tunnel with his heavy boots of lead smashing terrorists. All he needed was an American flag and a can of Bud to make this perfect. But nothing's ever perfect, and that's okay. He torches the bad guys, their weapon stash, and escapes flying high on a plume of explosions. America, baby. Fuck yeah. He's picked up in the middle of the desert by American soldiers, because America always wins and things are going to be alright. Like every good American, Tony wants a cheeseburger and a press conference. There's just one problem, one big problem. It almost ruined the movie. He eats a Burger King cheeseburger. I'll return to this later. But then he unleashes a real whopper on the world.
I came to realize that I have more to offer this world than just making things that blow up.
He announces that he's shutting down the weapons division of Stark Enterprises.
Let me show you the new Stark Industries business plan.
Yeah, that's going to make some enemies. He has a change of heart, literally. And when he utters this next line to the beautiful Pepper Potts, man, it just rips my heart out every time.
I don't have anyone but you.
Did you feel that? It's pure genius. That's why ultimately Iron Man is without question capital C cinema. Martin Scorsese be damned, but I'll come back to that later. Right now we've got to get back to work. Just like Tony, he's working late, and so are we, because that's what men do. We work late. Meanwhile, in the desert, the next Genghis Khan is building his own suit. But there's something special here in this brief change from Tony Stark to the wannabe Genghis Khan. It's a sneaky comparison, a message for the ages, for those of us smart enough to notice it. Great men build things, and weak men try to steal the things great men have already built. It's a memo to all the corporate scumbags. And the original creators here at Marvel, well, they build things as well. I'll never forget this. Just like seeing Kirsten Dunst's big bouncers for the first time in Spider-Man and my first cigarette. The HUD face. Iconic. Marvel. Iconic Marvel. Cinema. Suck it, Marty. And get this, after his nighttime joyride through the sky, he nearly destroys his house. Why am I even saying this? Because unlike these days, early manly Marvel actually understood physics, back when it had testosterone and consequences. This suit must weigh tons, so when he just casually lands in this heavy armor on the top of his house, he should crash all the way through it. But the hits keep on coming. He lands near something that will take your breath away. Pepper left him a heartfelt message. No jaded ironic snark from Pepper Potts, just a moment of blistering authenticity. This scene more than any other reveals how far Marvel has fallen, how smug and hateful they've become. But I'll come back to that, trust me. Because we've got to go to Marvel Prom. Well, kinda. It's basically just another gala.
Remember me?
Sure don't.
But there's a special guest. That's Stan Lee in one of his cheeky cameos. But this time, he's playing Hugh Hefner. These are the good old days of Hollywood, when drug-fueled orgies were with rock stars, celebrities, and supermodels, not 13-year-olds. But if you can believe it, there's an even more special guest here tonight. And man, if they don't pull on my heartstrings. It's the moment I've been waiting for, when the guy gets the girl. Tony has a dance with Pepper Potts. She's got her back out. She goes in for the kiss, but he doesn't. It's really awkward. He totally screws up here to leave a girl like this hanging. But if you stop and consider it, he just doesn't know how good he has it yet. I mean, this guy dates Maxim cover models. He can't just fall in love with this girl right away. That's too clean. That's not how life works. Life is full of twists and turns. Good writers realize that and use these kinds of moments to really turn up the dial on romantic tension. What can I say? They got me good. Someone else has been turning things against Tony.
Who do you think locked you out? I was the one who filed the injunction against you.
He's been betrayed by Obi. He twists the knife in Tony's back. To retaliate, Iron Man headshots some thugs of the 10 Rings, flies away but hits the radar of some Air Force pilots. You could say this is just an excuse to have some fun flying in a high-stakes aerial duel, honoring the tradition of amazing flights in cinema like Top Gun and Star Wars. But it's so much more than that. It's a triumph of man, of science, of throwing off his earthly chains and mastering the skies with the labors of his mind. This is what MIT grads used to be able to do. Now they can't even tell a simple truth at a congressional hearing or just host podcasts and get cucked by corporate cucksters. Oh yeah, the guy's parachute doesn't deploy, so Iron Man punches it and saves his life. I know what you're asking yourself. Is this better than Top Gun? Well, Goose lives in this one, so you decide. Back in Malibu, Pepper Potts does some recon for Tony and uncovers something huge. Turns out the terrorists weren't threatening to cut off his head.
You did not tell us that the target you paid us to kill was the great Tony Stark.
My God, did she open those files correctly or what? Turns out our friend Obi has been conspiring with the Lord of the 10 Rings. And right on cue, he enters the room, pours himself a nice glass of scotch. Stark's always got the good stuff. These are the good old days of office work, when you could drink on the job, sell a few subprime mortgages to make ends meet, and have absolutely no idea what another person's pronouns were. It was a more civilized time. After some chit-chat, Potts manages to sneak away. Loaded with liquid courage, Obi demands an update on the new suit. The scientists are having trouble.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave.
He sneaks into Stark's Malibu mansion. Obi knows he's screwed, so he does what every low IQ CEO in America does. He can't invent or create, so he steals.
You really think that just because you have an idea, it belongs to you?
So yeah, he can finally power his even bigger iron suit. And now it's time. It's time for the final showdown. Iron Man versus the bigger Iron Man. In the most iconic part of LA, not the Hollywood sign, not the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the 405, the true experience of all who live and suffer in the city of Lost Angels. He rolls the dice and uses most of his power to lure the Iron Ogre up high. I know where this is going.
How'd you solve the icing problem?
Despite falling from the edge of the Earth's atmosphere, their duel must continue. Obi fires 3 missiles and misses with every shot, proving he's definitely an inept corporate scumbucket with more arrogance than ability.
Oh, still, you little prick.
Tony's suit is totally out of power at this point, but Tony's got some secret pepper spray up his sleeve. Pepper Potts. Yeah, Pepper Potts, and she's extra spicy tonight. Her button smashing creates a giant energy surge which zaps the Iron Ogre, and then he falls in the reactor and dies in the explosion. But that's not the most explosive thing about this movie. No. In a real tour de force, they flip the superhero genre on its head. At the most iconic press conference in the MCU, Tony does what no superhero has done before. He tells him,
I am Iron Man.
Iron Man, a masterpiece for all mankind. If I'm being honest, there's not much that was bad in this movie, but I do have a few minor crimes and misdemeanors to point out, starting with the cheeseburger. In my opinion, this is the biggest crime. He really should have had a McDonald's cheeseburger. Burger King's alright every now and then, don't get me wrong, but when we're talking about good old-fashioned America, it's Mickey D's. Heroes eat McDonald's. It's just that simple. Which brings me to the villains. These villains never stood a chance. Exhibit number 1, the 10 Rings. They never felt like a real threat. Here they are beating up helpless villagers. This is a pretty far cry from being the next Genghis Khan and taking over the world. Exhibit number 2, Obi the Iron Ogre. Is that a potbelly on that thing? Even though Jeff Bridges plays a greedy corporate CEO well enough, he's far from a powerful threat. Even when he gets the giant iron suit, it doesn't feel like he stands a chance against Tony. Which brings me to my next point. The fights just weren't that great. We all know Tony's smarter than Obi. So this final fight's really just waiting for Obi the Iron Ogre to eventually get tricked, which he does. Speaking of tricks, there is a pretty serious plot hole. Obi breaks into Tony's apartment effortlessly. There's nothing to really suggest that this guy is a brilliant technologist, but I guess since they're friends, he can come and go as he pleases. But shouldn't Stark have changed the locks and updated his computers after, he found out that Obi betrayed him at the gala? I guess this will just be a question for the ages. And now it comes to something that just never sat right with me. Now, playing Black Sabbath's Iron Man at the end of the movie is either the perfect time to play it or way, way too late. I wish they would have played it when he fights Obi the Iron Ogre suit, but hey, you can't have everything you want. Now let's talk about the good stuff. There's a lot to love here. This is really going to blow your hair back. What really stands out is that the movie has an actual good old-fashioned character arc. Tony Stark goes from a rizzy, self-absorbed arms dealer, and after a near-death experience, to a guy who wants to change the world for the better. Most of the Marvel corporate content today just has a genius who solves everything immediately and defeats everything immediately, no matter the odds. They never change or experience a fall, and they come through the world utterly unscathed with their pre-existing worldview confirmed and unchallenged. After all these years, one thing really jumps out to me now compared to the modern MCU. Characters in this era actually like each other, but perhaps my favorite relationship is the budding romance between Stark and Pepper Potts. Pepper Potts and Tony Stark have a flirtatious and sincere relationship. God, it's refreshing. You can tell something is brewing here between these two, and it's not just an average cup of late-night coffee with a new creamer. Call me a sucker, but I've got a weak spot for good old-fashioned capital L love. Now, you can't talk about Iron Man without talking about the suit. He spends nearly 50% of this movie creating the iconic Iron Man suit. He even needed help from someone else to build the very first prototype. See this? It's the brown boy and the white boy just getting down on a sick collab together to build some world-changing tech in the desert. No dirty VC money required. And it's refreshing to see someone actually try and struggle to put something together instead of just being an effortless genius who just solves everything instantly and effortlessly. It's even got a divine message for men. Being a man is all about working, but being a great man is realizing that working is playing. So in a way, it's not work at all, it's just pure fun. This movie has two crucial things that the current Marvel really lacks: originality and fun. First time we see Tony take a flight in the Iron Man suit was absolutely exhilarating. It's up there with Peter Parker's Spider-Man swinging through the New York City as he learns to fling his web from building to building. Just like it was pure, simple fun to watch Tony flying and being chased by the fighter jets in the aerial duel. Iron Man, when movies were fun. And I've saved the best for last. Marvel humor. You see, the thing that made the jokes work in this movie is that they were true to the character. Tony Stark is a witty, sarcastic bastard.
To peace.
But not everyone in the entire movie has to be. So it's not just a bunch of bad jokes with a movie attached to it. There's actual tender moments, there's sincerity, there's authenticity.
Don't waste it. Don't waste your life.
Like when the scientist dies and he says he's going to see his family, who were killed long ago. That hits hard. Or when Pepper Potts leaves Tony his old mechanical heart. That hits really hard, but there is another hit coming. One that would hit the hardest. Iron Heart.